Now, our next keynote speaker is a well-known man to you all, I think. Founder and chairman and CEO of Forrester Research. George F. Conley, one of the most influential thought leaders in the world of business and technology. He's a trusted advisor to executives around the globe, providing context and clarity around the digital disruptions that change the way we live and work. George Conley, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome. Great to be here. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Thank you very much. Great to be here in Amsterdam this morning, one of my favorite European cities. Thank you for inviting me to be here at this incredible conference. Many good friends in the audience, many very good clients in the audience, but welcome. And it's fantastic to be here. You know, I came today and I wanted to be very brief, but I was remembering the story of Premier Gorbachev when he was running the Soviet Union. And he was a prolific speaker. He gave a press conference in Moscow, and he talked for about 45 minutes or an hour and a half long, a lot of talking. But afterwards he said, well, I'm going to do one-on-ones. So there was a young reporter from the BBC, a woman, and they went into a room together, and the woman was kind of sick of hearing Gorbachev talk. So she said, Premier Gorbachev, could you sum up the Soviet economy in just one word? And Gorbachev looked at her and said, good. So she wrote this down in her pad, and then she was a little dissatisfied with this. She said, you know, a little less brevity, how about 2 words? And he said, not good. So I will not be too brief this morning as we move forward. I want to talk about a very cool topic, something that Forrester calls winning in the age of the customer. It's really a very simple story. It's a very old story of moving to a new age. It's a voyage that we are all on to a new age. And I want to talk about that age, where we are headed. And then I want to talk about what all of us in this room will have to do as we move through this voyage. Let's talk about the new age that Forrester calls the age of the customer. And I'm going to parse this out for you. This is, we believe, a 20-year business cycle in which the most successful enterprises will reinvent themselves, and that reinvention will be driven because they must understand and serve increasingly powerful customers. Forrester, I don't know if you know this about us, but we gather data on consumers, B2B and B2C, worldwide, in actually 85% of the world's GDP. What we're observing in our data is this very powerful emerging customer. The question is, where is that power deriving from? We believe it's coming from really 3 sources. One, and this was referred to, I think, in the previous talk, but pricing. The ability for customers to get very precise pricing almost instantly, number 1. Number 2, the ability to publicly critique that your product may be okay. In the old days, maybe that was not understood. Maybe your product wasn't very good in the old days, but today that's very well understood because everything is critiqued online. And then finally, number 3, the ability of customers to buy from anywhere, from any person, at any time, from any place. And I have a little bit of data to demonstrate this to you. In pricing, this is a complex chart, but what's showing in the blue bars is the percentage of reservations on airlines being done online. So it's going from about 10% to about 60% in 2012. And the red line is showing the cents per mile paid to the airlines, dropping from around 19 cents to now around 15 cents. So we can see as consumers have gone increasingly online, prices have fallen. Looking at critiquing, and this is data this is actually online consumers in Europe, 17% influenced by consumer ratings and reviews, 13% by recommendations from friends and families, and 5% by online forums and blogs. 65% of all car purchases in Europe now are made after reviewing blogs and online reviews. So perfect pricing. Number 2, the ability to critique. And then finally, the ability to buy from anywhere. And again, this is European data. 22% of European online adults have ordered products from websites which are not from their home country in the last 3 months. So we're observing this incredibly powerful emerging customer. At the same time, we see a customer which is highly dynamic generation by generation. And this data always blows my mind when I look at it. I'm going to show you data, the behavior of X generation. Now, X generation is 28 to 40 years old. And then I'm going to show you the Y generation, that's 18 to 28 years old, and show you their behaviors side by side. Just a few behavior points. Very interesting. If we look at watching TV, Generation Y, this is traditional TV, watching 21% less television. If we look at using the internet, Generation Y, 24% more usage of the internet. Listening to the radio, that's traditional radio, 27% less. Video games, one that is extraordinary, and I think probably nobody in this room can really get this one. But Generation Y is 300% more likely to be gaming, to be playing video games. And then finally, reading newspapers, approximately 150% less reading traditional newspapers. So we see this, not only a very powerful customer, one, but two, we see a customer which is very dynamic and very changeable. Now, I would like to talk about Generation Z. Generation Z is younger than 18, but it's actually illegal for Forrester to survey people under 18 in most countries. But I want to show you a little video, give you a little idea of what your Generation Z customer is going to be like. 1 year old. Trying to manipulate the magazine. Nope. So Condé Nast, who's the publisher of Marie Claire magazine, is a client of Forrester's. And when I'm with the executives at Condé Nast, I say, you're making a product that no one under 18 thinks works. So we have these powerful customers, two very dynamically changing customers. What is also happening in this customer base, where we're observing, I think you all understand this, is what Forrester calls the mobile mind shift. That these customers are moving very quickly away from the web. In fact, I believe the web is a dead technology. The web will become the AM radio of digital in the future, always be around, very low price, but web is not where the commerce is going to happen. The web is a dead technology, and that it's all really going to happen around in the mobile world. So I'm going to show you two pictures. The first is in St. Peter's Square in Rome, and this is in 2005, not long ago. But this is the installation of Benedict XVI, when that pope was conferred. This is the scene in St. Peter's. And now I want to run the tape forward for you to 2013. In April of 2013, when Francis I, the 266th Pope, was being installed. So this is 2005, here's 2013. Right? They can't experience this without pulling in a damn iPad, taking a picture. So this is what Forrester calls the mobile mind shift. The concept that there's an expectation that any desired information or service is available on any appropriate device, in context, at your moment of need. That powerful customer who's dynamically changing will be highly, highly mobile. Now, the next graphic I'm going to show you, it's very complex, and I'm not going to take you through it, but Forrester has actually built something called the Mobile Mind Shift Index. So we're actually able to look at consumers worldwide and understand exactly how shifted, when we say shifted, it means how high their expectations are around mobile. And it's a very complex algorithm, which I'm not going to take you through. It's a 1 to 100 scale. This is showing, actually, if you look at the right-hand bar here, it's showing that the US average mobile shift is about 28. And interestingly enough, if you look at the mobile mind shift of men are about 30, a little bit higher than the US average. It's all US data. And then women are a little bit lower mobile mind shifted than the average in the United States. We do this by brands. We do this by, I think, about 170 brands worldwide now. So if you're an airline, we know how shifted you are versus your competitors. I thought this was kind of cool. This showed smartphone users and how shifted they were. There's the average, US average 22. Windows Phone is the least the Windows Phone customers, the least shifted. Next up is BlackBerry, and then we go to Android. And if your customers are iPhone users, they're going to be the most shifted, mobile mind shift shifted of all of your customers. And then here you have some data on the countries. So North America, US, leading there. And then we have Argentina about tied with the US for South America. If you want to see where real mobile mind shifting is going on, go to Asia. I was there last week, actually. There's a company there I was with called Xiaomi, two Google guys. And in 2 years, they have built a $7 billion company in 2 years, building a new smartphone, Android smartphone, with about 20 million subscribers. So if you want to see mobile mind shifting, go to Asia. And then Europe, we see the Netherlands about equivalent to the US, UK, Germany the lowest, and Turkey is the highest mobile mind shift. So as we look out at the age of the customer, very powerful customer, changing customer, very mobile customer. Now, you have to be careful when you're mobile mind shifted because there are dangers out there. There are social dangers. Keeps me from looking at my phone every 2 seconds. There are dangers from wild animals.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes ago, the bear left the clearing in the backyard there, and he made his way over to the driveway over on Mayfield. He came down that driveway, down Mayfield, and now he's on Briggs, and now it looks like he's turning into another driveway here. We're going to kind of maneuver around and see if we can get another shot of him. But yeah, he would definitely.
Right there.
Oh, man. We got someone, a resident there.
He
just saw the bear.
And also walking in malls. Try that.
Tracy gets out and all awkwardly walks away.
Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Of course, in New York City, there are entrepreneurs who are taking care of this problem. Okay. How's my time doing? Okay? Hanging in there? Oh, yeah, okay, good, okay. All right. So I think we understand the world that we're all headed into. Actually, the talk before myself also alluded to this. Now, the question is, what do we all do in this room about this new world that we're headed into, this voyage that we're all going on? How do you win in this age of the customer? I'm going to spend time on the first bullet. Second bullet I'll go really fast on because I'm going to run out of time. Number one, widen the technology management agenda. And two, you must build systems of engagement. Let's look at this first question, and that is, it's really a simple question. In the age of the customer, what role does the CIO and the CIO's team have? Now, unfortunately, this is the picture that a lot of CMOs see. We need to capture the voice of the customer, and the CIO responds. Let's get speech recognition software. Forrester actually had a forum a month ago in Napa Valley, very cool forum, CIOs and CMOs. You couldn't come if you were just a CIO. You had to bring your CMO with you and vice versa. And I'm going to say something. You may not think this is controversial, but I actually had a few debates yesterday morning with some CIOs in the room about this. Forrester believes that the CIO and team are going to have to be a very big part of the story of satisfying these new demanding customers. We believe that if you look at tech management is sort of the big term I'm going to use in 1998, tech management was really about one thing, and that was the management of IT. When I say IT, that's the very critical, important work of running the business. of running supply chains, running financial systems. It's the work that we've all been doing for decades. So IT, very critical. Now we roll the tape forward to 2008, and we see IT still a very big part of the agenda, but now we have a little bit of the agenda for the CIO and team, which is something Forrester calls BT, or business technology. And business technology has a very simple definition. Business technology are the technology, systems, and process to win, retain, and serve customers. So I'll say that again. Business technology, the systems, process, and technology to win, serve, and retain customers. And we believe, if you look at tech management as you move out toward 2018, that technology management, CIO and team, will have two agendas. They must, of course, run IT, the critical work of running the business. But we also believe they will have to take on a second agenda, and that agenda is business technology in support of the work of the CMO and the business executives and the marketing executives to win, retain, and serve those very mobile, very powerful, very changing customers. So we do not believe at Forrester that there's going to be somebody else that does this work. We don't believe there's going to be a CDO, a Chief Digital Officer. We don't believe there's going to be a Chief Marketing Technology Officer. We think that the CIO and team is going to have to get into the game, manage IT, but also manage business technology. Now, it's a bit of a debate because many of the CEOs of tech companies I work with say to me, George, only about 50% of the CIOs in the world can do that. My comeback is that we've observed at Forrester many alternatives to this arrangement, and most of them don't work. This goes back a billion years ago, but EGM, back in the year 1999, General Motors announced something called EGM, and they got an executive to run EGM, and he spent about 2 years fighting with Ralph Sagenda, who was then the CIO of General Motors. It was a big mess. So Forrester strongly believes that tech management is going to have to run IT and BT. Let me ask you a question of the audience. How many in the room, let's be positive here, how many people in the room believe that technology management, when I say that, that means the CIO and team, can truly deliver BT? How many vote? Okay, let's do negative now. How many believe they cannot do it? Okay, so we do have, this is a CIO audience. We might imagine that would be the vote. So we do have a general belief that this is the direction. By the way, this is not a perfect solution, but we believe it is the right solution as we move forward. How would we measure, by the way, if you look at budgets, look at technology management budgets, look at the BT budget. We believe the BT budget is increasing over the next several years. And that's being driven by mobile, all the demands of this in the age of the customer. And then we believe IT budgets will be falling, and that's primarily because we see virtualization, cloud, the general cost pressure on IT. So IT budgets decreasing, BT budgets increasing, the total tech management budget increasing a little bit. I'm almost there, 2 minutes to go. How do you measure the IT agenda? I think we'd still do it the same way we always have, which is really IT budget over revenue. That's how the CEO will see it. If we look at the BT agenda, how we're going to measure the BT agenda, we'll take the BT budget, and this goes back to Peter Drucker, the famous management consultant. He famously said, the job of the modern corporation is to create a customer. So as you look at the BT budget, a good way to measure, we can debate this, is BT budget divided by the number of customers created. That's the way the CIO will have to begin to think about their work in the BT agenda. Okay, last couple of slides. I was going to go for another 15 minutes, but I can't do that. I totally understand. We have a big agenda today. If you think about the BT agenda, what's first up on the BT agenda? It's something that Forrester calls mobile engagement. And it's the idea that all of your companies will put themselves into the pockets of your customers. or the pocketbooks, or the briefcases, or the backpacks, and that you will be with your customers as they move through time and space, and that you have to be able to deliver for them at exactly the moment that they need you, in context, with the right content. And we call that mobile engagement, and that's a whole other 2-hour speech. But I'm about to show you what I call the $1 trillion slide. It's really a description of the tech industry over the next 5 years. To be able to deliver this type of mobile engagement, this is the idea that when I get on my Air France flight today, going to go back to Boston, my phone's going to tell me exactly what seat to sit in and what drink I'm going to get. This is again a 2-hour presentation, but to be able to do that, here's what it's going to take. Insight from devices and sensors, that's the whole Apple world is involved. It's going to take social. I'm on Air France because my friends recommended it. It's going to take smart products, sensors throughout the path as I move through time and space. Public as a service capabilities, Google Maps. This is payment systems from PayPal. Amsterdam as a municipality may be actually supplying data to this. Here's where you come in. Here's the punchline really of this, is that you're going to have to take your systems of record, your Salesforce systems, wherever your customer information is recorded. That database, which is really a batch-oriented database today, is going to have to be upgraded to become a system of engagement. And that system of engagement will be able to connect to the customer as they move through time and space in a mobile sense. All of that coming to something we call big customer data, and then being able to actually yield this mobile engagement. To conclude, age of the customer approaches. Forrester, we see that in all of our we see that in all aspects of our data, number one. Number two, we believe the CIO and team, the tech management, is going to have to be in this game. We do not believe it's a CDO or somebody else or somebody in marketing is going to deliver the technology. Your challenge is to deliver on the BT or business technology agenda. And then finally, as you build the BT agenda, your first stop will be building mobile engagement. When your CMO needs you to be able to build technology so a customer can get to the right seat on that Air France flight, you have to deliver it. And my last thought, and I promise is my last thought, it's rather obvious, but I think it's a very profound thought that we all have to, when I show it to you, you'll see it's obvious, but it's something we're going to have to bring into our DNA. In the future, all companies will be software companies. Your biggest asset will not be capital. It will be your ability to develop software which is alluring, extraordinary, capable of capturing that very changing, dynamic customer in the age of the customer. And you will be competing with Google, Apple, Microsoft, SAP, and Oracle. But that will be your future challenge. Thank you very much. I hope that helped.
Thank you.
Thank you.